Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I am Sean Butler. It's Wednesday, the 1st of October. Happy October to you. I hope you're all happy and healthy doing the things you love with those you love to do them with. Guys, please do me a favor. Don't forget to smash the like button on the video if you enjoy the content. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell and drop a comment or two. Let me know your thoughts on today's topics, all of which will be available in the podcast format version of any particular platform that you might frequent. Spotify, you can watch it. Apple Pods and Amazon, you can listen to it. If you do find yourself over there, then please give us a follow and a rating. Appreciate you guys. We've got some transfer news, views, and clues for you today. A lot of updates. It might be a long one, so settle in, and I'll go through them all as quickly as I can to save you from getting bored, I guess. Listen, we're not going to talk too much about last night's game. Draw 2-2. I've already given my thoughts on that. Very unimpressed with the performance. Super impressed with the mentality and the dogged resilience. But overall, a lot of work to be done on the training ground. A lot of work to be done in the transfer window as well to plug some obvious holes. But look, for me, whilst I'm very, very satisfied with where we sit in the table, in the Champions League, the fact we've qualified through in the Carabao Cup, and where we sit in the Premier League, output and input are not the same thing. I think we should be able to critique and analyse things on their merit and in isolation. And for me at the moment, I don't think we necessarily deserve most of the results that we are getting. I think we've been on the wrong side of the better performances for the last few games, if I'm honest. But we've managed to sort of steer clear of defeat, and that's always a positive thing, but lots and lots of work to do. But like I say, today we're going to be talking about the transfer news, views, and clues. And the first big one out of the traps is an unbelievable talent at Real Madrid. I'm not going to give this one too much credibility, although he is a player that Tottenham were linked with way back when he was in Turkey before he went to Real Madrid. And since he's been at Real Madrid, links to Tottenham Hotspur won't go away. And that is, of course, for 20-year-old Arda Guler, Turkish international, obviously plays for Real Madrid now. A wonderful creative spark. Was seen a couple of years ago as being the greatest thing to come out of Turkey since pita breads. Don't know if that's even where pita breads come from, but you understand the reference. Let's get into it. Spurs were linked previously before, as I said, before he joined Real Madrid. He's valued at 150 million euros, about 125, 130 million pound by Real Madrid. They would be willing, apparently, to sell him for around that amount of money. And Arsenal are very much onto this one. Tottenham apparently also very much onto this one, as to our Newcastle. Apparently his agent has intimated in the past that if he was to leave La Liga, he would want to come and test the waters in the Premier League. And maybe they're putting two and two together here and getting, a number that's more than 4. He's got 9 games under his belt this season. He's got 3 goals and 4 assists already, so 7 GA in 9. Unbelievable outcome. And look, Xabi Alonso has played him more frequently this year, given him more of a sort of substantial role in that particular team, as Real Madrid really are trying to figure out their own identity at the moment. There's lots of players, lots of rumours around unhappy players with regards Rodrigo, with Vinicius Jr. Is it about money? Is it about too many egos in that dressing room? But then that's always been the case at Real Madrid, isn't it? Since the Galacticos days, or all the way back, to time immemorial, really. They've always had the best players in the world. And so with that comes the ability or the necessity to manage big personalities. And listen, I don't know anything about Arda Guler's personality, but obviously him getting those minutes ahead of others that are chomping at the bit to play more and to be seen as more of a priority and more of a leader, more of I get a bigger slice of the minutes pie, if you like. It does sort of, for me, make this story a little bit for the birds. Now that he's playing more under Xabi Alonso, surely any reservations about his time being wasted there when he could be playing more minutes in a different team is less relevant. And obviously, why would you want to leave Real Madrid, the best club in the world, if you didn't have to and you weren't pushed out or you needed to go and get more minutes? So I'm not going to give this one too much credit, but for what it's worth, it is all over the papers this morning that Arsenal, Newcastle and Tottenham are all very much interested in this player. Tottenham, of course, do happen to have a healthy budget in January and in next summer, according to all reports, and that the majority owners are going to back the club and show that sort of level of ambition. We'll see how all that plays out. But for me, I don't think we're at the position at that state right now where we can drop, essentially the entire budget on one player. We've got far too much to do. So I'm going to say this one is a a nothing burger of a story if he was to leave. I'd also be surprised for what it's worth if Arsenal could still spend another £120 million when they already spent so much money under Mikel Arteta. Newcastle United maybe have the wiggle room to do so, in the attempt to try to replace players that they've let go of this summer and missed out on as well. But I'd be very surprised to see a player like him moving for that sort of money. So we'll move on. Another player Tottenham have been linked with is another superstar out of Brazil, a player called Rayan, who, according to the stats, there was a statistic that was going around that of all of the under 19s or under players in world football in the top division of any particular country, the only player who has bettered this guy in terms of output this season is Lamine Yamal at, of course, Barcelona. This 19-year-old, I've checked him out on the Y-Scout tool. His name is Rayan, and he's got 12 goals this season for Vasco da Gama in Brazil. And I think the Brazilian league is a little bit more sort of through the season, if you like, than the Premier League, than the European leagues are. So it might not be a fair comparison to be looking at his goal returns versus European footballs, but listen, I've looked at the player. He does look incredibly interesting. He looks very, very strong, very, very fast. He's got an absolute wand of a left foot. He looks like he's a disruptive sort of player. He's very difficult to mark him. He's aggressive. He drives at players, and he can hit the ball with both feet. If you go and look on YouTube or on the Y-Scout, you'll see a lot of the highlight reels that will show that he prefers his left foot, but he's certainly got no problems with his right foot either. For what it's worth, the asking price from Vasco da Gama has been effectively doubled essentially in the last 12 months. They're looking for something like 37 million euros right now to let him go. They have already had and turned down rejected offers, allegedly from one of the teams in Moscow, from Zenit St. Petersburg. I think Zenit St. Petersburg put in a 17 million euro offer, and that was rejected. Porto as well have put in a 10 million euro offer, and that was also rejected. And this guy is supposed to be the hottest property coming out of Brazil. And look, for what it's worth, so I don't know too much about the guy. I can run him through the scout tool, and he looks incredibly interesting. What I would normally say is that when Tottenham have gone fishing in the South American market, it hasn't particularly worked out. If you think back to the guy we bought from Argentina, and he came over and then went out on loan. I forget his name off the top of my head. I can't think of his name right now. Excuse me. Forgive my sloppiness on that one. And he's obviously gone back to where he came from on a loan that will probably be made permanent. So it's not necessarily a place where we've had too much success directing that communication, directing that ability to bring players over without them having to go through the usual channels of Spain or Brazil first, where they acclimate and obviously get in through their passports and their heritage. But if you look at other clubs, other teams in the Premier League, they seem to be having a lot of success with South American imports direct into the Premier League right now. You look at John Arias from Wolves, who smashed us up the other day. He looks like a really, really handy player. You can look at some of the players that Nottingham Forest have got from Botafogo and that relationship with John Textor in Jesus, and is it Cunha as well? They've hit the ground running. There's quite a lot of examples now of Brazilian players or South American players generally that are leaving that part of the world, coming into the Premier League, and when they get their chance, they are taking it. So, maybe some of you might think once bitten, twice shy with regards paying up big money for South American sensations, because we haven't necessarily seen the direct value of that, but certainly other teams have in the Premier League more recently, and so it might not necessarily be something to completely dismiss. And apparently this guy is the next Wonderkid. So a lot of money to be asking, 37 million euros for an untested, unproven European player, but he does really look interesting. I'm going to carry on with some transfer news as well, guys, as we move on. But then we've got some club news regarding also Rothschilds and the ownership takeover, sort of story that won't go away, and also Fabio Paratici. Let's start with the next story. Figeches in Spain have reported that Chelsea and Tottenham are both keen on signing Levante striker Carl Eta Iyong, who has made a positive start to life with the Spanish outfit, having moved from Villarreal at the end of August. He's got 4 goals and 3 assists in 7 league appearances. He's played for Cameroon under-23 team, and he's an international there and has earned a very positive impression in his early days at Levante. And he's therefore being linked immediately with a transfer to the Premier League within weeks of securing that swoop move. I'll tell you what, I've checked this guy out on YouTube, and I did a little shallow dive on the Y Scout. I'll tell you what, this guy, I mean, go and look for yourself and see if you land on the same conclusion that I do. I think he looks rough. I think he looks raw. I'm not particularly impressed with his technical stuff, although he does seem to like to dribble the ball. But it all seems to be, for me, the success stories. And when you look into the kind of the mistakes, it all seems to be around the same kind of, I don't know, energy around this player. And I think he is terrifying for the defenders around him, not because he's so technical, but because he is so physical. He is a unit. He's like an NFL linebacker or a cruiserweight boxer. He's massive. He's big. He's strong. He's fast. He's aggressive, and he throws his weight around. And look, he's also got a hell of a shot on him. He's got a hell of a shot, and some of his finishes look very good. Others look like he's just kind of putting his foot through it and hoping for the best. And that's where the Y Scout comes in, because you can see more of his mistakes or more of the opportunities, just quick isolated moments. How does he handle with certain situations? How does he handle certain situations? And for me, look, I just think that the takeaway is his physicality is absolutely insane. And his positioning seems to be intelligent. I'll absolutely give you that. He understands where the ball's going to be before it's there, and then obviously uses his pace to get himself into the right positions. And like I say, he is someone that likes to dribble with the ball, but for me, he doesn't quite. It looks a little bit rough. It looks a little bit raw, and I'm not sure if he would be someone that would come to Tottenham and to Chelsea with any kind of real potential of being put into the team right now. I don't think he's at that level. But look, his output's fantastic. 4 goals and 3 assists in 7 league appearances. It's quite an unbelievable return. 7 in 7 since he joined there. But for me, I think you'd need to wait and see with this one. Or if he was to come in, he might go back out on loan again immediately, just to see if he was to be ready. But I'm not sure what the number would be. There's no mention in the article about what the price tag would be. But I'd imagine if he was to go on a project, he'd probably go to Chelsea, because Chelsea would probably loan him back out into Strasbourg or somewhere like that. Anyway, interesting story. Moving on. Next story will be it for you guys is Caught Offside. I've got a story this morning regarding Nathan Collins of Brentford, that Tottenham Hotspur are about to potentially link up with Brentford and try to get a reunion going. For me, this story is a little bit of a long stretch. Obviously, Nathan Collins has just been made captain of Brentford, and he started very well in their team this year, and he's become a regular starter and has developed under the new manager as much as he did under Thomas Frank as well. He's no stranger, obviously, to Thomas Frank's system. Irish centre back, and he has the ability to play as a right back. He can play as a right-sided centre back. And he can play, believe it or not, weirdly, on the left side of a back three. Very strange that he could play any position in a back three, but primarily as a right back or a right-sided centre-back. Now, I said this to you guys before. For me, I think that this one, whilst difficult, obviously Brentford's captain, and it won't be cheap, it won't be easy. Brentford have already lost too many of their players. I'm sure they'll make this one very difficult. But if it could happen, and even if it doesn't happen, I think that the logic here makes a little bit of sense. I've said to you guys before, I don't think that Jed Spence is a right back. I don't think he can do what Pedro Porro can do. When you have Mohamed Kudus in front, and Kudus wants to do what he does with the ball, and he'll try his best to make something himself. If he can't, he's willing just to kind of turn around and give it back to Pedro Porro, who is a master of hitting the ball first time into the danger zone with a cross from deep. And we saw it yesterday. In last night's game, we got back into the game as a consequence of it with Van der Ven's headed goal. I don't think that Jed Spence can do that, and I think that Jed Spence is brilliant at doing what he does off the left, defending against top opposition that have a specific right winger that has a masterful left foot. Think Saka, think Mo Salah, Kvaratskhelia when he played out there against us in PSG, for example. All of those sorts of situations in the Jed Spence penitentiary. That's where I like to see him. I don't necessarily think that playing him on the right-hand side is helping his vulnerabilities or his weaknesses become better at the same ratio as you are losing his massive strengths, which is that one-on-one ability against right-footed or left-footed right wingers. And so for me, the argument around trying to find a fourth fullback, maybe it shouldn't be to find a left back. It should be to find a right back that can sort of double up and move in on that position. I'm not sure if Kevin Danso can be repositioned to be a left-sided centre-back if necessary. We know we're going to have injury problems with Romero and Van der Ven at some point this season. Romero missed out yesterday. For me, I think we possibly do need another centre-back. It would be nice to be able to get someone who can do both. But in an ideal world, you need a left-sided, left-footed centre-back, and for me, a right-sided fullback to complement and complete our system. Nathan Collins can at least do one of those things, and he would be maybe a little bit crowded in the centre-back spot on the right side as our positions stand. Don't forget, we've got Radu Dragusin coming back shortly. Kota Takai, as yet, also not to play his first minute, but that shouldn't be too far away. And obviously, we also have, in a year's time, the returning, hopefully, very much Premier League ready Luka Vuskovic. Talking about centre-backs, guys, the stories are still out there. According to Caught Offside again yesterday, he says that Tottenham are a leading contender to sign Crystal Palace defender Marc Guehi in the summer transfer window, with his departure considered when, not if. Spurs view him as a relatively low-cost but high-impact defensive reinforcement. His leadership qualities and Premier League experience would strengthen the spine of their backline. Liverpool remain interested as well, seeking to revive their pursuit following the failed summer move. It says here on the Caught Offside article that the Eagles could accept a lower fee in the January transfer window just to try and salvage something from him, especially as La Liga outfits Barcelona and Madrid are considering offers in the winter. Listen, I'll be entirely honest. I would imagine that Marc Guehi is going to have several offers from clubs that are huge. Liverpool, if he wants to stay in the Premier League, it would be Liverpool first. They desperately and definitely need a new centre-back if they are to have a couple of injuries between now and their next opportunity to sign one. Liverpool on the back of 2 defeats in 2 games. When was the last time we saw that, by the way? They're going to have all sorts of problems if they were to lose a Van Dijk or a Konate to an injury. And Konate looks like his head has gone anyway. He looks like his head is turned and he can't wait to move on to Real Madrid. Will Real Madrid try to come in and get both of them, Konate and Marc Guehi, signed up on freebies or on, like I say, it's never a freebie, but you understand what I mean. And Barcelona as well might be looking at him. Tottenham are probably 4th, 5th, or even 6th on the list of potential suitors. I'd love to see it happen. I do rate the player, probably not as highly as other people do, but I think he's top draw player and can obviously play on that left side as well. So it would be a great coup if we could get him. I don't really understand what the draw to come to Tottenham would be rather than going to Liverpool. He's going to play more minutes at Liverpool than he would at Tottenham, which is a unique and rare situation. And so I think that this one is for the birds as well. But listen, at the end of the day, money talks. Will Tottenham really want to go back and deal with Steve Parish again, though, in January and make an offer that will at least give him some sort of satisfaction, or will he waste our time again like he did for the Eberechi Eze story? We shall see. How long have I been going for? Is it a good time to stop there? Do you know what, guys? I'm going to stop there because there's other stories that are not about transfer news, views, and clues. But what I'll do is I'll make that into another video and I'll drop that one this afternoon. So there's your transfer news, views, and clues updates. Let me know what your thoughts are on any of them. On the front end of the pitch, it looks like we're trying to make moves for Arda Guler. I doubt it. For Rayan, that will be interesting, but a risk. And obviously, also for Carl Etta-Eyong, and then defensively, stories regarding Marc Guehi and Nathan Collins as well are both interesting. And I think Tottenham Hotspur definitely need a little bit of support down there. But it's interesting, not really too much in the way of left wingers in the transfer zeitgeist today, but we'll bring them to your attention when we see them. Guys, I will leave it there. Please do smash a like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe and the notification bell. If you are interested in the podcast versions of football content, then please do look for the Spurs Talk Show, or you can find the links in the description below and go over there and give us a 5-star if you wouldn't mind, and a follow. Like, subscribe, and comment, guys. And as always,